Welcome to the Adoption Journey podcast. I'm your host, Tarcia Smith, and welcome back to another story. Before we get started, make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all the things, and then check us out also over at blackadopteesmeetup.org. We are going to Philly 2026, October 2nd through the 4th. Stay tuned. Registration will be opening soon. So we got all of that out of the way. I am super excited to have a fellow adoptee and comedian.
Yeah.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm well.
Good.
So,
Thank you for having me once again.
You're so welcome. I'm going to dive right in because I'm so curious about your story. I have so many questions.
All right.
So
Let me get situated. Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah. Get comfy. My first question, my favorite first question, I want to know how old you were when you found out you were adopted.
So it's funny. I thought that I knew I was adopted like from day one, which obviously that's not how that works. But I must have been about 7 because my parents adopted my younger brother and we're 7 years apart. So I think I was 7. Like I've always known I was adopted, it was kind of when my mom told me 7, I was like, really? Like, oh, I thought I was younger than that. She was like, nah. So yeah, I was young.
I love that. I love that they did that. And how did you feel growing up? Was it normal? Some people say they felt different.
Yeah, I mean, I felt normal. I've always felt included. When I go back and I think about the times where I felt different, it's like, am I different because I'm adopted or am I different because I'm a teenager who is like trying to get his way? You know what I mean? Like that's natural, different from your parents. But I've always felt like I never felt like an outsider in my own home.
You know what? I've never thought about it like that because when I started feeling different, it was at that age, teenage.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I remember thinking, because I found out early too, maybe I act like this because of DNA. No, maybe you act like this because you're starting to smell yourself, girlfriend.
I mean, and it could be a mix of both. As I've come in contact with more adoptees and I've been in these like adopted communities,
Yeah.
I just wonder sometimes. I'm like, okay, were you feeling different because you're adopted, or were you feeling different because that's just what happens as we become our own people? But I don't try to take away from anybody's experience, so that's not me.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's just another
yeah,
thought.
yeah.
Yeah. Another twist
Because
on.
they'll come for me. I'll see the YouTube
They'll come
comments.
for
They'll
me
be coming for me. So yeah,
They'll come for me too.
we're gonna stay out of it then.
We'll stay over here. So you felt normal growing up. Did
Mhm.
you ask a lot of questions? Because I had all the questions. My parents, they spoon fed me because I had a closed adoption. So they spoon fed me information.
Mhm.
Was
Mhm.
yours open or closed?
Close adoption, and I had like some basic questions. Who was my mom? Who was my father? Uh, all those things. And my parents were really open, and they said like, we don't know everything. It was a closed adoption, so these are the things that we know. They were, yeah, they were just really honest and upfront about that. So I never really questioned much like to them. It was just like, okay, this is what you know, great. I never felt like they were like hiding anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Very similar experience. What about when you were around like extended family? I don't know if you guys did family reunions like we did. I know the thing for me that stood out, I didn't look like anybody. Did that stand
Yeah.
out for you?
Yeah. So I was adopted to a black family. I'm half black, but to like a black family. My mom is light skinned, and my dad is a darker skin, we shall say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there are people on my dad's side of the family that are also very light skinned. So while I didn't really look like my mom or my father or my brother who's darker skinned, and my younger brother also adopted. I never was like really out of place. It was like, okay, these are all shades of black people. So it wasn't like one of these things is not like the other. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's looking at it like, oh, we found Waldo. That's it. Like it just wasn't like that. It was, yeah, that's the truth.
One
Yeah.
of these things is not like the.
Yeah. Cause I have friends who are adopted and when I look at their family photo, you're like, yep, adopted. You know what I mean? but for me, you couldn't tell. And my younger brother and I, we'd always get a kick out of it because people would walk up to us and be like, "Oh my God, you look so much like your mother," and it's like, do I really, or are we
Do
just the
I
same
really?
skin tone ish? But
That
yeah,
part. I got
yeah,
now I got that growing up because I'm closer to my dad's skin tone. My mom is actually
okay,
like your complexion,
okay, okay,
and my dad's closer to mine. So I used to get that as a little girl too.
yep, yeah,
Okay,
and it's
I don't look like
and
them.
right, right. It's like I don't really, but it becomes like an inside joke. You're like, but I guess like if you had to choose one, if you had to walk up to a family and say, which one do you look like? You would, for me, you choose my mom. But
Got it.
yeah,
Got it.
yeah,
So it
yeah,
seems like you had like just our stories are like very similar. We
yeah,
we were fine growing up. Sounds like had a good life.
yeah,
But I'm sure it did not take away that curiosity of you wanting to know where they
yeah.
come from. Who are these people? Where are these people?
So this is where my story gets a little boring, and I always feel bad because yes, there was a feeling of like, where do I come from? But you couldn't tell me that I didn't come from the Williamses, right? Like, as far as I'm concerned, my grandmother's from Arkansas and Mississippi.
Wait a
Um,
minute.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
my people are from Arkansas too. What part?
Okay. Uh,
Get it together.
how many multiple parts are there from Arkansas? No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I should. I don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, now you got to go find out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go find out. But yeah, so I wondered, but it wasn't. I never felt like lost. You know what I mean? I never
Yeah.
felt like there would be times where I would say, be like, oh, I wonder, where they are, what they're doing, how life has been, all those things. But I never felt like I need I need to know where I came from because, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, like,
Mm,
this is family.
I get that. And I hear you on that.
Hmm. Hmm.
The only thing I would ask about that, I actually just dropped a clip about this earlier today.
Hmm.
What about your medical history?
People ask me this all the time. Look, this is what I tell them. Cancer's gonna happen, whether it was. Yeah, I'm sorry. So let it be a surprise to me. I don't know. I wish. You know what it does? It makes my life simpler when they ask me, like, "Do you have a history of?" I can just say, "I don't know. We'll find out together." Yeah, that's it. I don't.
Not let it be a
Yeah,
surprise.
it's just a
We'll
surprise.
surprise together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll start a new history right here in this generation. No, yeah, the medical history thing, I don't know. But I've never I've never been one to be like, well, I don't know my medical history. Well, I have to look, I would love to tell you that if I knew my medical history that I would probably change some things. I would love to say that. I don't know if that's true. I have a hard time with like life routines and things like that. So I'm just trying to make it till tomorrow. That's it. So yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You said earlier that you were half black.
Mhm.
How do
Mhm.
how do you know? Is that in your paperwork?
So I I never knew that like I was like half black. I just in fact growing up, you once again you couldn't tell me that I wasn't full black. Like I think I was like 13 when it dawned on me like, hey man, you might not actually be full black. Look at your eyes, buddy. Like I don't know what it was, but there was a moment that happened. I always tell the joke like I don't know if you see the videos on social media where it's like it's like a pack of dogs and then there's like a cat and it acts like it's a dog. You couldn't tell me I wasn't a dog. Like I was the cat, and it was a surprise to me. Uh, but then a few years ago, I did a 23andMe, and I found out. Yeah,
So
yeah,
you took a
yeah. Yeah.
DNA
I
test,
took a DNA test. Yeah, yeah,
and
and
what was your percentage?
it
If you
was
don't mind
like
me asking.
no, no, I don't mind. And this is the thing, I don't even remember fully, which is so it was. This is my life. It was somebody else had like a Groupon, so they had two on their account, so I was able to take one on their account. I was like, oh, this is fun. But I think I was something like it was like maybe 52% black, something like that.
Yeah.
And then I have like some English in me and some Irish, and There was something else that was surprising. Yeah. And I think maybe a little Greek. I don't know. But
You were
yeah.
like, maybe, but
Yeah.
not
Like, huh.
all.
Yeah.
So
I was
when you
like, huh.
got your results, you weren't
Hmm.
shocked. It was just confirmation of something you were already thinking.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, okay. It was actually, so I was a Black Studies minor in college, and I learned to read Black history books. My mom was an elementary school principal. My dad worked in software and in engineering, computer technology. But I learned like how to read from like Black history books. So that was like drilled. We could talk Black history all day. We could do it all day. But it was interesting because there was cultures now that I never thought about. Like there was like the Welsh, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like so, it did surprise me. I haven't done like a deep dive down any of that,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah, it did surprise me. Once again, I'm trying to make it to tomorrow.
Got it.
At
Got
some
it.
point, look, at some point, I should, and I promise you, I'm gonna make the promise to you, I will, because it would be incredible to see that. But I have ADHD, I have laundry to do, things like that.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Mama is a
Mm-hmm.
principal.
Mm-hmm.
How was
Mm-hmm.
school for you? Just because mama is a principal, did you go to school and act right? Because I feel like,
So I had a tough time in school. I was always very well behaved. I was always
okay,
very well behaved, but the ADHD made it really hard. And in fact, when people talk about trauma or their upbringing and they talk about like their adolescence, most of my trauma comes from things that stem from ADHD, not feeling like I'm good enough, not feeling like I have a work ethic. So when I talk to people, a lot of people who are adopted we feel some of the same things often. And I tell people, I'm like, you decide where that feeling comes from. You decide the trauma that comes from, because we would get in yelling matches about why I wouldn't do my homework. I've always been that kid who was like, if you just applied yourself. So those things were really hard for me to hear. But I mean, my parents were always on me to do well in school and to try my best. And it was tough. It was definitely tough. Yeah, it was
that is
tough.
so interesting to hear that you talking about trauma because you hear that word a lot
Mm-hmm.
in this community.
Mm-hmm.
But for you to, and I'm an educator myself, and to
Mm-hmm.
hear that word coupled with ADHD,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. To this day, you could not tell me that I have a good work ethic, and I could go work a 12-hour shift and then drive an hour and a half to do 5 minutes of comedy and then come home and then watch the tape of me doing comedy and write a note, try and write some more jokes or whatever, and then go back to work tomorrow. I could do that 5 days in a row. You could not convince me to have a good work ethic. I remember sitting at my desk saying, okay, we have homework to do. Boom. Put the homework out there and then never getting done. And then why isn't it getting done? And the shame and things like that. So, um, yeah, there's definitely trauma that comes from that. Yeah.
so do you feel like you have coupled also with that trauma from adoption?
As I've gotten older, really this last year has been very eye-opening in terms of the world of adoption and the range of emotions and how different people feel and the different experiences that people have. There is definitely some abandonment trauma there. There's some. It's there somewhere, anxious attachment style, things like that. But how much of that is from adoption, how much of that is has to do with maybe some things that my parents did, I don't know, you know. But there's stuff there. I always look at trauma as, if I don't know the source, because I can't go back, right? I can't go back in time, and I can't say, all right, 15% of this came from here, 20% came from here. I can't solve those moments. So I always think this is just the cards that I'm dealt, and now I have to just deal with it, no matter the source. And I try, but not always great. I'll tell you that much.
Because I had that same thought as well.
Yeah.
This is just how I move. This is just what I do.
Hmm.
I don't know where it comes from until like you, until I was kind of opened up to some of this broad paintbrush of trauma
Right.
in
Right.
the world of adoption. And I was like,
Yeah. 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 I mean, truly, I always thought that I was 100% fine with being adopted. Let's use that. let's use that for lack of better words. I've always been very proud to be adopted, to be honest with you.
Me too.
But yeah, but as I've gotten older, I'm like, okay, wait, I can see where this could play a role. I could see where this can cause feelings of this. Yeah, so I've had to just deal with the emotions that I feel and try to be a better person than I was yesterday, right?
Yesterday.
And wherever that cause, whatever caused those things, I can't go back and change those events, so I have to deal with it. If there is something, if there is the abandonment trauma and that's playing a huge role in this aspect, like I don't blame anybody. There's nothing like that. I'm still very proud to be adopted. I just have something else I have to deal with. So yeah.
How did you stumble across the adoption community?
I started writing jokes about being adopted, and then
Did
yeah,
they come for
somebody
you?
sort of yeah, well, no, they didn't come for me.
Okay.
But I'll be honest. There's I think one of the jokes I'm the most known for. Some days I get really worried that people will come for me, but I think and and this is something I don't do often. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I think it's just like such a good joke that people who are even adopted are okay with it because I get nervous. Yeah,
Don't ever get nervous.
I know I shouldn't, but
You
you don't
shouldn't.
want to.
You know why?
You don't.
Let me tell you why. Because it's your story, it's your lived
Yes,
experience, it's
yes,
yours. And
yes.
if they're not okay with that, there are 500 other comedians that they can go listen to.
100%, 100%, and that's it. And
That's it right
um,
there. So
you know, and
don't you dare
no,
stop telling that joke.
and I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I listen. I didn't say I was ever gonna stop telling a joke, but sometimes I'm in these circles and I'm like, ugh. But yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, that's a great segue.
Hmm.
How did you become a comedian? And then, well,
Yeah.
okay, let me one question at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Start there because I do have another question.
So I grew up in Los Angeles, and I lived there for like 30 something years, and I was always in love with performing. When I was a kid, we would go to the circus all the time. That was like my favorite thing. And I used to love the clowns. I love the clowns. I'm sorry. Clowns get a bad rap. Don't make me defend them. It's ridiculous, but I love the clowns because they would just make people laugh. And what I noticed is people were happy. Every time I went to the circus, I felt happy. It was this big event and I loved it. Then my parents had, their VHS collection, and inside was like Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy and Raw and all these things. And I don't know when, but I'm sure they were watching something on TV and I saw it. And then I would go sneak in their drawer when I got a little older, and I'd take out, Richard Pryor live in concert or Eddie Murphy Raw or Delirious, and I watch it. And I was just obsessed with how these entertainers could stand on a stage and tell these stories and just captivate. And then as I got older, it wasn't just about the people being captivated. It was more about the stories and the lessons that come from them. And so I always wanted to be in entertainment, but growing up in LA, having friends in it, I felt like I was surrounded by people who like were trying to make it and they weren't making it. It seemed so hard and all stuff. So I just packed that dream away, put it in my pocket, and said we're going to go do something else. And then I went back to college in 2016 and I did the community college thing for 4 years while I worked. And then in 2020, during the pandemic, I transferred to UC Santa Barbara, which is I live in Santa Barbara now. And I was here and I just saw that there was an open mic happening at this coffee shop. And I decided that I was going to do it. And that whole day I was so nervous. I was at the open mic and I didn't even sign up yet because I was so nervous. And the lady who was running it, she could tell I wanted to sign up, but I was too scared. And I was like, no, I don't know what to do. And then she asked me what my name was and all these things. And she said, okay, do you want to go on stage? I said, no. And then there was one last comedian, and that comedian went on. And then she said, all right, guys, we have one more person. His name is Chris Williams. He's never done it. He's going to wing it. And she called me up, and that was it. And I've been in love with it ever since.
Okay,
So yeah.
wait.
I
What
know it's a
makes
lot
you
to
sign
unpack in
up
that.
for the yeah, what made you sign up for the open mic? Because it must have been like were you writing jokes at that time or
Mm-mm. I mean, I've always been funny. I tell you that. I've always been
I
funny.
can tell.
Yeah. And so I had a friend who she did comedy in LA, and she was like, "Chris, you are so funny. You talk like stand-up comedy." Like she's like, "You would be so good at it." And she knew I wanted to do it. And I think, one reason I went back to school is because I needed a new direction, but I needed wins. One of the things that school does for us, is for anybody, when you really participate, it gives you a series of wins, right? Like when you break it down and you're in college, you got to write your acceptance, whatever. You got to write your essay to get in, then you get in, and then you got to show up. Let's just skip forward. You got to register for classes. All right, that's a win. Now you have classes. Now you got to show up on the first day. Then you have your first assignment. And if you do all those things, those are wins. And then you do all that well. And
Yeah.
at the end of the semester, you have whatever grade that you've earned. So I had straight A's and I was never good at school. It's the first time around to college, I dropped out within the semester. So I had wins and I was feeling good and I felt like, okay, I'm capable. I can do this thing. And we were just come out of this pandemic. We're still kind of in it. I mean, nothing is promised. So I was like, well, let's just try it. And that was that. That was that.
You got bit by the bug.
By the bug. Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah. I love it.
So how long does it take you or did you come out the gate
Mhm.
with the adoption jokes? Was that always a part?
No.
No.
Um,
Okay.
I had a meeting with like a talent manager, and we were talking about different opportunities for me. And she had mentioned America's Got Talent. And so one of the things about America's Got Talent is when you look at most of the comedians who do well on America's Got Talent, or anybody who does well on America's Got Talent, because I hate to tell people this, it is a produced show, right? It is produced. They want the ratings to be great, like all these things. People have like a thing. Like, what is their thing? What's the thing that connects the audience? So I was trying to figure out like what is going to be my thing. And we had a whole list of stuff. And this is a true story. I'm sitting in my kitchen and we're going down thing. I'm like, well, I'm adopted, but that's not a thing. And she's like, no, that's a thing. Like that is a thing. It never occurred to me that being adopted was a big enough deal or was something that people would relate to or want to hear jokes. I don't know. It just never, I never like, it was just part of who I was. It was never like, look at this part of it. So that's how it started.
As a lover of comedy, like I told you,
Hmm.
seen many, many, many stand-ups.
Hmm.
I've heard people joke about adoption. I
Hmm.
want to say you're the first person that I've heard the way you incorporate it
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
that lens. Not to say that there's not other adoptee comedians,
Yeah.
but it's your lens. And
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard it like that. And that's what drew me into you. I was like, oh, that's
For sure.
hilarious. And I
Yeah.
hope nobody is offended because I know they can get a little offended. Oh,
I
bless their
mean,
hearts.
I know nobody does. The line,
Sometimes.
that a lot that I was worried that will offend people is I always say to an audience, so I'm adopted or thrifted. And, I say like I'm a goodwill baby. I just like I have all these lines that I talk about.
Right.
And the first time that I brought up adoption on stage, I said I'm adopted and I could feel the audience get what we call like I feel them close up. Like I can feel them be like, whoa, like uneasy. And so I had to figure out how to talk about adoption in a way that would be funny, but something that's really important to me is that there's a meaning behind everything I say. So I wanted them to understand that I'm okay. You can laugh at this, but I needed them to feel that way. And for some reason, I said or thrifted, and the audience just one day they just laughed, and that was it. I was just off and running.
My favorite, and I'm bringing it up because you have a clip of it
Yeah,
when you talk about why you thought you were
yeah,
adopted.
yeah, yeah,
That is
yeah.
hilarious.
I see. So I'm really glad you bring this up because this is this is I love that joke, and I also hate that joke, I'm just gonna just I'll tell you why. So I true story, I thought that the reason there was a time in my life where I thought the reason why I was adopted is because my parents didn't have sex. That's really what I thought. Now, part of that is because I never really saw my parents be like super affectionate in that way.
Hmm.
And so I just was like, yeah, well, maybe they just don't have sex. Like maybe they don't have sex. And then my dad has this photo of my mom. My dad was like a lowrider back in the day, and he has this photo of my mom, and she's like in like some small jean shorts and like kind of like a crop top, and on top of his Corvette, and it's like right next to his desk. And whenever he talks about that photo, it is like sometimes I'm like, come on, Dad, like we get it, but like you don't have to, you don't, yeah. So I realized like, okay, clearly my parents were trying to have a kid at some point, like they were trying.
And I'm smiling so hard because I believe your parents are probably closer to my age because you were born in the 90s, right?
Yeah, but so my parents were old. My dad's like 78, so they were older. My
Oh, they
mom's a
were
little young. Yeah,
older.
yeah,
Okay.
older. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, older.
Okay.
And so,
So they're not close to my age. Never mind.
no, no. Because you're what, 30, 34 or something like that, right? Yeah, we're around there, right? No, no. Okay, well,
I am 50.
50. Come on now. See? Hope I
It
look
don't
that good at
crack, does
50.
it?
It does not crack. It does not crack. I'm starting to get a little bit of the gray hairs, but otherwise, I feel like I'm doing okay. But it does not crack. Oh
So I
yeah.
was thinking because I know that I think somewhere I heard you say like a 90, you were born in the 90s. So that
Mm-hmm.
was my era of the little shorts and yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
that's why I was
So
like, oh, okay. But no,
yeah. No. So I was actually born in yeah, I was born in 87, but I grew up in LA through the
in the
90s, right?
90s.
Yeah. And my parents are, I mean, they are, all right. We hate the phrase lucky to be adopted. We hate the phrase grateful, all the things. I am so grateful,
I am grateful.
period. I don't care who this offends, put it on a billboard. I am so grateful to be adopted because I have the parents I have in my life. Period, done. I don't care how I got to them. I am so thankful to have them. My parents understood the assignment. They understood that they wanted a child, they wanted kids, they couldn't have them. And then when they were blessed with them, they were going to do everything in their power to be great parents. And they have done that day one to right now. I mean, truly. So I can't ask for anything more than that. And so, to go back to the joke, at the end of the joke, I basically joke about the fact that the house that we have has an atrium, which is an outside inside, and I talk about us being rich. The truth is, and this is the part I don't like about the joke. The truth is that we were not rich at all. We made a good living, right? My parents made a good living, but we were not rich. And I went to like very rich, predominantly white private schools.
We
I
are
had
living the
no,
same life.
so there we go. I had no idea that I was a scholarship kid. Like I had no idea. But my parents always made me feel rich. Like I felt cared for. I felt, there was we had some times that as a kid I realized I was like, hey, this is a little hairy, but it was never like they were their parents. And that's always been like their first thing. So, I try and give them some credit and they deserve more. But yeah.
I'm so glad to hear you say that you were grateful,
Mm-hmm.
period.
Mm-hmm.
I was speaking to someone last week, and the question she asked me was, why does it seem like the people that say, don't tell us that we should be grateful, and that side of the house, if you will, it just
Mm-hmm.
seems like their voices are so much louder because it's like, are there no grateful adoptees? Do you not exist?
Well, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, no, we out here. We're out here. All of us didn't have bad experiences. All of
Mm-hmm.
us,
Yeah.
we get
Yeah.
it. We understand it, but
Yeah.
don't be mad at me because of my
Right.
lived experience.
Right. And that's been really eye-opening for me. I really struggle with people who, I'm gonna say it. I really struggle with people who accept, I don't want to say accept their fate. That's not what I want to say. People who hang their whole identity, this is who I am, and I can't break away from this. or whatever. I don't know why. Maybe it's the ADHD, the short attention span. Maybe it's the way my parents raised me. Maybe it's everything above. But I believe that where there's a will, there's a way. I believe that just because I'm in a situation doesn't mean I will stay in a situation. I believe that I have the ability and the agency to make the best out of every situation. And there are days it's so much harder, and there are days I don't want to, and there are days I can't. But I believe I can if I really try. It is very clear to me that there are some extremely complex feelings and some hard negative feelings that people have with adoption.
However,
Right. My experience, me as Chris Williams, has been positive. Are there days where I'm like, wouldn't it be great if I knew my biological grandfather? Yeah, okay, cool. I'm sure he'd have some great stories, but I already had some great stories by people who treated me like I was biological. Nobody's ever made me feel like I wasn't a part of the family. And so that's my positive experience. Now, what I will always do is I will always advocate for the people who don't have it as well as me. So if I
absolutely.
can use my joy and my voice and use it and put it and use it, have a platform, I'm going to do it. Does that mean I'm always going to agree with things that are being said in the community? No, but I'm going to do it. I yeah, yeah. I always say, a good friend of mine, Crystal Park, another fellow adoptee and incredible filmmaker and just incredible person. I over the course of this year, we formed a fast and tight friendship with her whole family and everything. And I've loved it. And we talk a lot about being adopted because both are adopted. And I told her, I was like, I don't know what the circumstances were with my biological mother having to surrender me. I don't know if she was forced. I don't know if it was willful. I don't know. But what I do know is I'm going to try and live my best life for everyone involved so I can honor my family now, my biological family. Like, I want to honor everybody. So, because look, I believe in heaven and hell. And if I make it to heaven and I have to be around family, is it my biological family, my adopted family? We don't know yet. So I feel like I need to be good to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to be good to everybody. That's it. That's the truth. I don't
You are
know.
not. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm rocking with you
yeah,
100%.
yeah,
All of it.
yeah.
All of it.
That's
And I'm
it.
so
Yeah.
glad to hear somebody else have the same sentiment. Even
Mm-hmm.
when you just said there's some people that they just live in it
Right,
and they've
right.
figured out a way to make it their entire identity. And it's like,
Yes,
wow,
yes. And 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 you know what? And it is for many. I hope there are some people who it's their whole identity, and I feel like there is a lot of pain there. But
absolutely.
I will say though, I do appreciate them using that identity as a platform for other people because it's so good to just have discourse. But I also hope that these people take a moment to say, okay, this was rough. This was bad. This thing went really well in my life. It doesn't have to be related to
Right. It
adoption,
doesn't
but
have to
just
be
in
right.
general. Yeah, and just in general.
Something,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
something that
yeah,
brought you joy, that brought you
yeah.
peace.
Mhm,
Something.
mhm,
Absolutely. I'm with you
mhm,
100%.
mhm. Yeah.
So now, so you've done this comedy thing.
Mhm.
How long have you been doing it? And is adoption a part of every show? Like, is it in the set every time now?
Uh, it not every time, but
Okay.
I've been doing it now about I guess a little over 4 years, and yeah, and it's been going really well. I feel this is my struggle as an artist. This is not adopted related, but a lot of people know me for that joke, and I'm in a place where I'm trying to like get into different markets, and I'm trying to find like a brand, and I'm trying to I don't know, like I'm just trying to do these things that I more of the business side. And
Yeah.
so I do that joke because it helps people remember me. It's very memorable. So if I go to a city that I haven't played in before, or I don't have anybody there, because I don't have a big following or anything like that, I want people to remember me. So I often will tell the adoption joke. But
Okay.
ultimately, I would love to write a full show about adoption, like a full hour about adoption. I just some days I wonder. I don't think I would actually be able to do it by myself. because there are so many other sides to adoption, and I want to make sure that I am fair and cover everybody. I can talk about my side, but even when I share my story, I'm like, yep, I was adopted, black kid, black family, everything's pretty good. And it's like, all right, that's a wrap. So, I have to like figure out how to like expand on it.
And cut.
Yeah, I'm like, all right,
Thanks.
because some people's story, you're like, this is a movie. Like, I'll listen to some podcasts, I'm like, this is crazy. Like, wow, like you couldn't write. It's like a Christopher Nolan film. Like, it's wild. And then for me, it's like, nah, it was pretty good.
Well, you know what? And that's for me too. And I think
Hmm.
for me personally, because my story is like, yeah, I was adopted. I was fine. I was okay. My story starts to twist and turns when I started my search and reunion because I did go find
Mm.
everybody.
Okay. Did the reunion.
That's when
Yeah.
the roller coasters.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I uh I did find online my biological mother, and that was there was a actually at my friend Crystal's house, sitting at her kitchen island, and I had done the ancestry, yeah, the ancestry, and so I was like matched with different people, and there was somebody who was like a 25% match. It was like something really high,
That's a
and
sibling
well, it was, I
or
think
a
it was like
half sibling or something like
it
that.
it it was like higher than that. Like it was whatever it was. When Crystal, I reached out to Crystal. I was like, "Hey, I have this match." She's like, "That might be your father. Like that could really be your father."
So
Oh,
50%.
it was, yeah, it was something, and I don't remember.
Real
But this
high.
is where
Yeah, yeah.
this is where it gets weird. Um, it was a man's name, and then the pronouns were female, and so I messaged and I said, "Hey, like I don't know how to say this, but this is on Ancestry, but uh might be related to you, blah 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 blah, this and this." And then the response back was like, "Oh, hey Chris, yeah, unfortunately, I'm just using this account to find my family. I'm not actually this person. So good luck with your search." And I was like, I don't even understand what, like, it made no sense to me. So I had kind of like given up. For me, it wasn't even given up because I never really seriously thought about doing the whole like reunion or trying to find anybody, but I was like, you know what, that's a sign, I'm good, we just put it away, and I was fine. Like, went to work that day, life was good. So I'm sitting at Crystal's table, and I've always known my birth mother's first name, and so I was telling the story, and I was like, yeah, and this is her first name, and I don't know, I don't think it's gonna happen. And she's like, I found her. Just like that, like just like that, like she was like making pasta, and also was just like, found her. Like, what? Oh, yeah, we found her, and then I spent probably like 45 minutes writing like a very crisp message. Like, it was funny, but it was emotional, and nothing like, I don't know who's gonna read it, so it was like, I think maybe we share a special day together. I know this isn't on your bingo card for this like Friday, September, whatever, but blah blah. And the platform where she's the most active is TikTok. So we find her on TikTok, and I go to write the message, and I write hi and then her first name, and then I hit return to go to the, or I write, yeah, to write the rest of the message, and I sent it. So all I wrote was hi and then her name, and so she's never responded. But I've since spammed her on every other account. But it's interesting to just see this person who I follow. She doesn't follow me back, and just see her, because it's like, oh, like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you look like her?
I see a resemblance for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely do. And I think she's funny on TikTok. I mean, she doesn't have a big following, but she's got like a little sarcasm thing that I enjoy, and so I'm really like, if we met, it would be so wonderful. I don't think that I would try, and I don't. My expectations are not like family. It's like to meet somebody I've never met before, like you. It's like, wow, what's your story? Like, I'm sure it'd be so lovely, but
And for me
still grounded.
also, it was to find that genetic mirror. Like when I had
Mm,
my oldest son, that was
mm,
the first time I ever saw anybody that looked like me.
that's interesting.
And
Yeah,
when I was pregnant, it never even occurred to me that he could look like me because I'm so accustomed to seeing I'm around people
people
that
that
don't look
don't.
like me.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Wow.
So the first time I held this little boy, I was like, he looks just like me. I'd never seen that before.
The only time that I would say that I felt emotional was when the ancestry results came back and there were just people who were blood related. There was a moment of like a grounding. There was like oh yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
do come from
Mm-hmm.
I come from
Mm-hmm.
someplace.
Yeah.
There was that moment of grounding.
Mm-hmm. When you see the last names and you're like, oh,
Yeah, it's like yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, but there are people, and I think that feeling lasted maybe a few hours, and it was like, all right, cool. But once again, like that it wasn't life changing because
I
I
understand.
was already grounded. But I was like, that is cool. Like that is really cool. So the perspective that you just shared of seeing somebody who looks like you for the first time being your son, like that's beautiful and something I never even thought about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that had to
Because I
be
take it you don't have kids.
no kids. No, two
Okay.
dogs that they don't look like me.
They could. I've seen dogs
Yeah,
look like
yeah,
their
yeah.
owners.
I mean, we're not far, but we're not. It's not. Yeah, 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 exactly. No
Your
kids for me.
perspective about a lot of this might change when you do have, if you decide to have kids, it might
It
change.
might. It might.
And the reason why
Yeah.
that medical piece, because now I have kids, it
So now you
might.
got to protect too. You got to know as much as you can. Got to be that parent. I get
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
I get
And for
that.
me, at first, it was more about, I just want to know.
Mm,
And
hmm
then as when I became a mom, it was like, well, I should probably know some stuff.
Like they're gonna people asking questions. Hold on a second.
I should probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I didn't find anybody until um I have 4 kids. My older 3 were high school, middle school age.
Okay.
So they were,
They were in it.
they were in it. And
Yeah.
I was like, let's go,
What was
figure out
that?
something.
Yeah. What was that like? I mean, you said that that's kind of when things got challenging, maybe, or like the story becomes fun, let's say, but like, yeah,
How can I put it without like just taking over the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
show? I will say
yeah,
this.
yeah.
It was the lesson I learned. I'll tell you this. The lessons that I learned is number one, when you if you decide to find your people, don't go in hot like I did. And
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean by
yeah.
that is I came in, I was excited, I had all the questions, and then I was getting frustrated because I wasn't exactly getting these answers as quick
Mm,
or the answers that I wanted. And
mm-hmm.
I had to, now this was a lesson that I learned. It took me a few years. I
Okay.
stayed hot for a minute. I had to understand you have had the privilege of having a lifetime to process this.
Yes.
You are showing up to these people and they're like, welcome. But wait a
Yes.
minute. Give
Yes.
us just a minute. Because now I'm shaking up the foundation.
Yes. Yes. And and I'm very because people ask me like, well, why don't you comment on something that she's posted and say like check your DMs? Maybe she's seen it. You know what I mean? Like I'm very conscious of the fact that while I may have some questions, like they may not want these questions. And so that's hard.
They may not, but they got them from me.
They may not, but they got them from me. Ooh. Oh man.
Any and everything I wanted to ask, I
Yeah.
asked. And then um just so that happened in 2012 when I found my birth mom and I found my birth father in 2023. And then the information that she gave me wasn't
Wasn't
correct.
correct.
And so where I had to land, because by the time I found my birth father, I didn't come in the same. I had learned some lessons. Yeah,
Right, right. Yeah.
I was
Still
much
questions,
better.
but yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I was much better the second go round. Because listen, let me tell you how bad I was. I met my birth mom, on a Friday.
Okay.
By that evening, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "So, who's my birth father? Do you know anything about him? Where is he?"
Wow.
Hot, hot.
You were like in research mode. You had questions. You were. Wow. Wow.
And I've always
So
been very intrigued with the family tree thing anyway.
yeah,
So yeah, I
yeah.
had questions.
So let me ask you this. I'm always curious about this. When you finally met your biological mom in person, I'm guessing,
Hmm. Hmm. Yes,
and where does one meet their biological? Like where do you meet when you're gonna meet your biological mom? Like is it a restaurant? Like where do you meet?
her house,
Her house. Was that
her
hard for you because
apartment.
you're walking into her space?
I took my husband with me,
Okay.
and I got super nervous going there, but it wasn't about walking into her space. It
Mm-hmm.
was about you're about to lay eyes on the woman that gave birth to you for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I had painted this image because
Mm-hmm.
in my brain, ponies, unicorns, and rainbows. You hear
Of
me?
course. Of course.
I could sell tickets to this up here and make
Mm-hmm.
money. It's so
Mm-hmm.
fabulous in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
She she was none of that.
Yeah.
She was none
Yeah.
of it. Anything that I had, I was like maybe because I've had all these lived experiences. So I was like maybe we could connect, maybe we could talk, maybe we could
None of it.
none of
Yeah. That that's that people. So they call that what your ghost kingdom. Have you heard? You
it.
know? Do you know the phrase?
Bingo. Bingo.
And which I have a huge problem with. I have such a huge problem with the phrase or term ghost kingdom, and I'm amazed that people use it because
I just heard that for the first time about a year ago, actually.
it sounds like an Indiana Jones movie. First of all, like that's a why do people who are adopted have a ghost kingdom, which is our imagination about our biological family, what could have been, what they're doing now. Like, why do we have a ghost kingdom and other people just have imagination? Like, I've never heard a murderer. Like, that, what? Like, why do we have such a like? Are we using that term to kids? Are we like? Because to me, that when I hear the word ghost kingdom, I mean, it doesn't roll off the tongue in a positive manner,
No, it doesn't. And the first time I heard it, I was like, what's that? And then I did
right?
some digging and I was like, and then I kept it moving.
That's how I feel. I was like, I'll never.
Like, I'll never use the term.
Yeah,
But
and
yes, that's what it is. But yeah,
like you so the imaginary place that we go, our imagination
it's
for
fabulous.
adoptees, it can be but look, I
So
had I
fabulous.
mean there were times where I also wondered, I was like, well, maybe it's not gonna be great, like I didn't know what to expect. um I really didn't. I know that I'm never gonna call it my ghost kingdom. I tell you that much. That I know. But like I did not know what to expect. And so if I do get the chance to meet her, meet my biological mom or biological family, like I said, I'm just going in and just it's just a chance to meet somebody I haven't met before. And I will tell you, I do think I have an advantage because as a comedian, I go on a stage in front of people who've never seen me before, and my comedy is really personal. So I just start sharing. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. So I do I do think, oh, it would be so great to meet these people. But I don't expect to meet them and then we're going, we're hanging out.
We're going to
I
Disney
just
World.
yeah, yeah, I don't see that. Yeah. I expect to meet them and be like, that was a great conversation. Like, I hope, yeah. Maybe we'll exchange some emails. I mean,
Probably should have gone in like that, but I went in not necessarily. I don't know what I was looking for, to be honest with you. I knew I
I
wanted
mean,
to meet
yeah.
them. I knew I wanted to see somebody. I was curious, do I look like this woman? All these things that I've done. That was my first time I really, really understood this nurture versus nature thing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's a real thing.
okay, it's a
Yeah.
real thing. And so then to see it in live in color versus what she is versus what I am and what, yeah,
A big difference.
it's a real thing. It's a big difference. It's a
And
big difference.
this is not obviously I don't know anything about your biological family, your biological mom, but I would it sounds like you have a lot to be proud of in terms of how your life has gone.
Absolutely.
And so,
Absolutely.
that's the thing. And I think that's really important. That's really important that we think about that. Like we got to
I'm
think
just lucky
about the
enough,
positive.
right? And I'm just lucky enough as an adoptee to know, like, for real, her story
Mm-hmm.
and where she comes from and what
Mm-hmm.
it could have been.
Mm,
Everybody doesn't
mm,
know that.
mm-hmm.
And there were hints
Yeah.
because I knew she was 15 when she had me. I knew I was born in Chicago.
Same with my mom. She was 15.
So there were, it's like,
Yeah.
okay,
There were some signs.
right, there were things.
Yeah. Yeah. I was,
But when I met them, it was like, okay.
yeah. I always joke that I think that, my biological parents, my biological mom went to my biological dad. It was like, homeroom. She was like, hey, listen, I'm pregnant. I can't keep it. I really have to focus on this geometry test. What do you want to do? He's like, yeah, I want to get good at skateboarding. So I like to just paint that picture. And that's how I always joke with people. I'm like, we all have dreams.
We
So
all,
I would say it was a business decision. They just,
it was,
but yeah, you know, but at the end of the day, maybe it wasn't their choice. I don't know. I just try and make everybody proud. That's it. Try and do my best.
and I'd love that, you know how to be happy. You have figured out how to be happy.
I I try. One of the things when I was a kid, I was just thinking about this today. I was recently laid off from work, and I'm a worker, so it is really weird to be sitting around at home around Christmas time. Like, it's a weird time. But when I was a kid, I don't know who I got it from, where I got it from, but my thing was if the sun comes up tomorrow, it's going to be a good day. And so I still try. Like there are days when, I mean, I can do a bad mood like nobody's business. I'm very good at it. I'm very good at it. But I try to be happy. I try. I try my best. That's all you can do.
I love that.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for coming on. I have had
My
a
pleasure.
ball
My
talking to
pleasure.
you.
Thank you. Same to you. Thank you.
And thank you. And I want to
Yeah,
encourage you to keep going.
I will. I will. And I appreciate that encouragement and it means a lot.
Keep going. Don't leave
Yeah.
me just yet. Hang on. And on that note, bye, family.